Book 5, Part 2 of Troilus and Criseyde by Geoffrey Chaucer. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Recording by Kevin Johnson. A she that hadde her heart on Troilus so faste, that there may it noon arase, and strongly she spake, and saide thus: O Diomede, love that ilke place there he was born, and loves, for his grace, deliver it soon of all that doth it care, God for the meek, so leve it well to fare. The Grekes wolde her wrath on Troia wrekke, if that they meekte, eke know it well, I wis, but it shall not be fallen as ye spake, and God to fawn, and further over this, I wot me father wis and ready is, and that he may hath balked, as ye may tolde, so dere them the more unto him holde. The Grekes being of high condition, I woot eke well, but certain men shall finde as worthy folk within Troia town, as cunning, and as perfect, and as kinde, as being betwixt Orcades and Inde. And that ye cowed well your lady serve, I trow eke well, her thank for to deserve. But as to spake of love, I wis, she saide, he had a lord, to whom he wedded was, the whose mine harte all was, till that he died, and other love, as help me now palas, there in mine heart nis, ne never was, and that ye being of noble and high kinrede, ye have well heard it tellen, out of trade. And that doth me to harm so great a wonder, that ye will scorn in any woman so, eke God wot, love and ye be fair asunder. Ye am disposed bet, so mote ye go, unto me death, to plain and maken woe. What ye shall after doen, ye cannot say, but truly, as yet me list not play. Mine heart is now in tribulation, and ye in armes busy, day by day. Hereafter, when ye wonen han the town, round her, then so it happen nigh, that when I see that ye never sigh, then would I werke that ye never raucht, this word to jou ye noch sufficen acht. Tomorrow eke will I spaken with jou fain, so that ye touchen naught of this matter, and when jou least, ye may come here again, and ere ye gone, thus much ye say jou here, as help me Pallas with her heres clara, if that ye shoulder of any Greek hand routh, it shall be yourselfen, be me trouth. Ye say not therefore that I will jou love, nay, ye say not nay, but in conclusion, ye many well, by God that sit above. And therewithal she cast her e'en down, and gan to seeke, and saide, O Troia town, yet bidde ye God, in quiet and in reste, ye may jou seen, or do mine harte breste. But in effect, and shortly for to say, this Diomede all freshly new again gan placen on, and fast her mercy pray, and after this, the south for to sain, her glove he took, of which he was full fain, and finally, when it was waxen eve, and all was well, he rose and took his leave. The Brite Venus followed and eke talked the way, their brode Phoebus down alikte, and Cynthia her char horse overraucht, to whirl out of the Leon, if she meekte, on signifier his condolce should brikte, when that Criseyde unto her bere wente, in with her fathers bere brikte tent. Returning in her soul, up and down, the words of this sodden Diomede, his great estate in peril of the town, and that she was alone and had a neede friend his help. And thus began to braid the cause a wee, the south for to telle, that she took fully purpose for to dwelle. The morrow come, and goosely for to spake, this Diomede is come unto Criseyde, on short lay, lest that ye may telle breake, so well he for himself spake and saide, that all her seeke sorrow down he laide, and finally the south for the same, he reft her of the great of all her pain. And after this the story telleth us, that she him gaf the fair bay estate, the which he won as one of Troilus, and eke a brooch, and that was little maida, that Troilus was, she gaf this Diomede, and eke the bet from Sorwa him to relieve, she made him wear a pencil of her slave. He feigned eke in stories elsewhere, when through the body hurt was Diomede of Troilus, though wape she many a terror, when that she saw his weeder wounds blade, and that she took to keeping him good head, and for to hail him of his sorrow smarte, men saying, he not that she gaf him her heart. But truly the story telleth us, there made never woman more woe than she, when that she falsed Troilus. She said, alas, for now is clean ago my name of troth and love, for evermore. For ye have falsed un, the gentileste that ever was, and un the worthieste. Alas of me, unto the world's end, shall neither be ye written nor ye sung, no good word, for this a book as well me shend. O, rollade shall he been on many a tongue, throughout the world me bella shall be wrong, and woman most a wool hath me of all. Alas, this which a cost me shoulder fall. They will saying, inasmuch as in me is, ye have me done dishonour well away. I'll be ye not the first that did amiss, what helpeth that to do my blame away? But sin I say there is no better way, and that to late is now for me to rua, to Diomede Elgata he will be trua. But Troilus sin he no better may, and sin that thus depart ye and yet pray ye God, so ye be our reeked good day, as for the gentileste truly, that ever ye say to serve him faithfully, and best can his laddie honour keep. And with that word she brast anon to weep. And certes jou ne haten shall he never, and flamed his love, that shall ye harm of me, and me good word, I'll make thee liven ever. And truly he will the sorry be, for to sain jou in adversity, and guilty less, he would well, he jou leva, but all shall pass, and thus take ye my labour. But truly, how long it was between that she forsook him for this Diomede, there is no actor telleth it, Iwena, take every man now to his book his head, he shall no term a fienden out of dread, for though that he began to woe her son, ere he her won, yet was there more to doon. Now me ne least the silly woman cheera further than the story will devise, her name, alas, is published so weeda, that for her guilt it ought ye now suffice. And if ye make excuse her any wisa, for she so sorry was for her untrouth, ye wis, ye would excuse her yet for routh. These Troilus, as ye before have told, thus drieveth forth, as well as he hath meeked. For often was his heart a hoot and cold, and namely that ilke neemt a neeked, which on the morrow she had a him beheeked to come again, God wot, for little rest had he that neeked, nothing to slave him lest. The laurel crowned Phoebus, with his hate, gan in his course upward as he went, to warmen of the east say, the wall was wait, and Nice's doctor song with fresh intent, when Troilus his Pandera after Santa, and on the walls of the town they played, to look if they can seen aught of Criseyde. Till it was known, they stoden for to say, who that were come, and every manner weeked, that come fro fair, they saiden it was she, till that they could known him a reeked. Now was his heart a dull, now was it leaked, and thus by yeped stonden for to stara about nacht, this Troilus and Pandara. To Pandarus this Troilus though saida, for aught he wot, before noon secretly, into this town ne cometh not her Criseyde, she hath ye now to dawn heartily, to winnen fro her father, so trow ye, for all the father will yet make her dina ere that she go, God gave his heart to pina. Pandara answered, it may well be, certain, and for the latest dina I they beseech. On afternoon thou mayst thou come again, and home they go without a more speech, and comen again, but longer may they seche, that they finde that the after kappa, fortune him both thinketh for to jape. Quod Troilus, he say well now, that she is terried with her olde father so, that ere she come, it will a nake even be. Come forth, he will unto the yete go, these portars being unconing evermore, and he will doen him holden up the yete, as not ne were, although she come late. The day goeth faster, and after that cometh Eva, and yet come not to Troilus and Criseyde. He looketh forth by Hege, by Treya, by Greva, and fair his heed over the wall he laid, and at the last he turned him and said, By God, ye wote her meaning now, Pandara, almost ye wis all knew was my cara. Now doubtless this laddie can her good, ye would, she meaneth reading privily, ye commend her wisdom, ye mean hood, she will not maken people easily gaur on her. When she cometh, but softly beneath into the town she thinketh reade, and, dear brother, think not longer to abide. We ha not else for to do any wis, and Pandarus, now wilt thou trowen me, have here my troth, see her, yon she is, have up thine e'en man, mayst thou not say? Pandara answerde, nay, so motive. All wrong, by God, what sayst thou, man, where art? That see yond niece but a farre cart. Alas, thou sayst right sooth, quoth Troilus, but hardily it is not all for naught, that in mine harte I now rejoice thus. It is again some good I have thought, knew not how, but sin that I was wrought, ne felt I switch a comfort, dare I say, she cometh to nicht me lief, that durst delay. Pandara answered, It may be well ye know, and held with him of all that ever he said, but in his heart he thought, and softly laughed, and to himself full soberly he said, From hazel bode, their jolly Robin played, shall come all that thou abidest here, yea, very well, all the snow of ferne yere. The wording of the Yetas gan to call the folk which that without the Yetas were, and bade him driven in her bestes alla, where all the neat they most blaven there, and fair within the neat with many a terror. This Troilus gan homeward for to reade, for well he seeth it helpeth not to bide. But natheless he glided him in this, he thought he misaccounted her his day, and said, Ye understand have all on me's, for thilke nicht die last Criseyde say, she said, He shall be in here, if that he may, that the Mona or dear harte swete, the Leon passa, out of this ariete. For which she may yet hold all her beheste, and on the morwe unto the yete he went, and up and down by west and east by east, upon the walles mar he many a went, but all for naught, his hope alway him blent, for which at nicht in sorwe and sieke sorwe, he went him home withouten any more. His hope all clean out of his heart flede, he nath whereon now linger for to hunger, but for the pain him thought his heart blade, so were his throwes sharp and wondrous stronger. For when he saw that she abode so longa, he niste what he judgen of it niekte, since she hath broken that she him beheapte. The 3de, 4th, 5de, 6de day, after thou days tan, of which he told her, betwixt hope and dread his heart lay, yet somewhat trusting on her hestes olde. But when he saw she no their turn holde, he can now see none other remedy, but for to shape him sona for today. Therewith the wicked spirit, Goddess blessa, which that man clapeth woda yellow say, gan in him clape in all this heaviness, for which because he wolde sooner die, he ne eat ne drunk, for his melancholy, and eke from every company he fled, this was the lief that all the team he laid. He so day fate was, that no manner man or nath maked him know there he went, so was Helena, and there to Pala and Juan, and Fabla, that he walketh be potente, and with his ire he thus himself enchante. But whoso asked him whereof him smerte, he saide his harm was all about his harte. Priam full oft, and eke his mother dere, his brethren and his sustren gone him frain, wie he so sorrowful was in all his chere, and what thing was the cause of all his pain. But all for naught he knolled his cause of plain, but saide he felt the gravest malady about his harte, and fain he wolde die. So on a day he laid him down to sleepe, and so befal that in his sleep him thochte, that in a forest fast he welk to weepe, for love of her that him these paines wrought. And up and down as he the forest saukte, he saw a boer with tusks great, that sleep again the breek the sun is hete. And wie this boer fast in his armes folde, lay kissing aye his lady breek Criseyde, for sorrow of which when he had gone beholde, and for despite, out of his sleep he brede, and loudly cried on Pandarus, and saide, O Pandarus, now kno I krop en brote, I nam but deed, and nis non other bote. My lady breek Criseyde hath me betrayed, in whom I trusted most of any wight. She elsewhere hath now her harte paid. The blissful goddess, through her great neigt, and in me dream ye shewed it full reekt. Thus in me dream Criseyde I have behold, and all this thing to Pandarus he told. O me Criseyde, alas, what subtilté, what newe lust, what beauté, what science, what wrath of juste cause have ye to me, what guilt of me, what foul experience hath from me raft alas in advertence. O trust, O faith, O deep assurance, who hath me reft Criseyde, all me plaisance. Alas, we lead jou from hennes go, for which well neg out of me witty brede, who shall not trowe on any other's mo, God wot ye wende, O lady breekt Criseyde, that every word was gospel that ye saide, but who may bet beguilen, give him leaste, than he on whom men weeneth best to triste. What shall he doen, me Pandarus, alas, he faile now so sharp and new pain, sin that there is no remedy in this cause, that bet were it he with me hondes twaine me selven slow, and all we thus to plaine, for through me death me woe should han an ende, that every day with grief me self he shende. Pandari answered and saide, Alas the wille that he was born, have ye not said ere this, that dreames many a manner man beguile, and we, for folk expounden him amiss, how darest thou say that false thy lady is, for any dream breed for thine own drede, that be this thought thou canst no dreames rede. Perantur, there thou dreamest of this boor, it may so be that it may signify her father, which that old is an eke hour, again the son leath on point to die, and she for sorrow ginneth wape and cry, and kisseth him. There he leath on the ground, thus shouldest thou the dream a reet expound. How meekte I then a dow, quoth Troilus, to know of this, yea, were it never so lite. Now say'st thou wisely, quoth this Pandarus, me rede is this, sin thou canst well indeed, that hastily a letter thou her rede, through which thou shalt well bringen it about, to know a sooth of that thou art in doubt. And see now we, for this I dare well sayn, that if so is that she unthrough obey, he cannot trowe that she will rede yea, and if she rede, thou shalt full sone say, as whether she hath any liberté to come again, or else in some clause. If she be let, she will assigne a cause. Thou hast not readen her sin that she wente, nor she to thee, and this I durst delay. There may switch cause the being in her intent, that hardily thou wilt selven say, that here abood the best is for your tway. Now rede her thana, and thou shalt feel a son a sooth of all, that there is no more to done. Accorded being to this conclusion, and that unknown these ilka lordes two, and hastily set Troilus adown, and rolleth in his heart to and fro, how he may best descriven here his woe, and to Criseyde his own lady dere, he wrote thus, and said as ye may hear. Reeked fresh a flower, whose ye have been and shall, withouten part of Alice were service, with harte, body, lief, lust, thought, and all, woeful weaked in every humble wise, that tongue tella of harte may devise, as oft as matter occupieth place, me recommand unto your noble grace. Liketh it jou to weten, sweete harte, as ye wel knowe how long it time agoen, that ye may left in aspre pain smerte, when that ye wente, of which yet both known have ye none had, but everywheres begun for day to die me, on so mo dwella, will it jou least, of wella and woe me wella. For which to jou, with dreadful harte through, ye rite, as he that sorrow drift to rite, me woe, that every hour increaseth noa, complaining as he dar or can indeed, and that defacet is, that may ye wite the terrors, which that from min e'en reign, that wolde spake, if that they could, and plain. Jou first beseche ye, that your e'en clara, to look on this de fouled ye not holde, and over all this, that ye, my lady dere, will vouchsafe this latter to beholde, and be the cause eke of my cares colde, that sleeth my wit, that ofte miss me esterte, for ye that may, min own sweete harte. If any servant durst or aught of reet upon his lady piteously complain, then weenna ye, that each ought to be that week considerate these, that ye these months twain han tarried. There ye saiden, sooth the same, but days 10 ye nolde in ost sojourne, but in 12 months yet ye not returne. But forasmuch as may mot nedes like, all that jou least, ye dare not plain more, but humbly with sorrowful seeke, jou rite each in unresti sorrow, for day to day, desiring evermore, to knowen fully, if jou will it were, how ye han fared and doen, what ye be there. The whose welfare and hele eke good and crace in honor switch, that upward in the grave did grow away, so that it never cesse, reeked as your heart can, a lady frey, devise, pray to God so mote it be, and granted that ye sone upon me growe, as wisely as in all ye am jou trowe. And if jou liketh knowen of the fare of me, whose woe there may no week descrive, he can no more but, chaste of every care, at reading of this letter he was on viva, already out of my woeful ghost to drive, which ye delay, and hold him yet in honde, upon the secret matter of your sonde. Min e'en woe, in veins with which ye say, of sorrowful terrors salt on waxen welles, me song, in plaint of min adversity, me good, in harm, min aise eke waxen hell is, me joy, in woe, ye can say jou not elles, but turn it is, for which me leafy worry, everych joy or aise in his contrary, which with your coming home again to Troy ye may redresse, and, more 1,000 seethe than ever each hadde, increasen in me joy, for was there never heart yet so blithe to han his leaf, as ye shall be as sweethe as ye jou say, and, though no manner routh come may be jou, yet thinketh on your trouth. And if so be my guilt hath death deserved, or if jou least no more upon me say, in guerdon yet of that ye have jou served, beseech ye jou, min hearte's lady free, that hereupon ye wolden rite me, for love of God, me rite lode stere, their death may mark an end of all me ware. If other cause aught doth jou for to dwelle, that with your lettre ye may reconferte, For though to me your absence is an hella, with patience you will me wo comporta, and with your letter of hope you will disporta. Now readeth, sweeta, and let me thus not plain, with hope for death delivereth me fro pain. Ye wis min owen dere harte troa, ye woete that, when ye next upon me say, so lost have ye min hela and ik min hua, Criseyde shall not to corna knoa me. Ye wis min hartes die, min lady frey, so throusteth I min harte to behold your real day, that me lief on nath ye holda. Ye say no more, I'll have ye for to say, to ya well more than ye tell a me. But whether that ye do me leave or day, yet pray ye God, so ye shall reach good day, and fareth well, goodly fair fresh a May, as ye that leave or death may command, and to your troth ye may recommend. With hela sweet that, but ye geven me the sama hela, ye shall noon hela hava, in your leith, when your vista that eat so bay, the day in which me clothen shall me grava, in jou my lief, in jou meet for to sava, me fro disease of all a pain a smarta, and verre now well, min owen sweet harta. Le vostre, T. This letter forth was sent unto Criseyde, of which her answer in effect was this: for pitously she wrote again and said, that all so soon as that she meeked ye wis, she would come, and mend all that was miss. And finally she wrote and said in Dana, she would come, yea, but she niste wana. But in her letter mada she switch faces, that wonder was, and sweareth she loveth him best, of which she found but bought me lease behestes. But Troilus, thou mayst now, east or west, peep in an evie leaf, if that they list. Thus quoth the world, God shield us from mischance, and every week that meaneth trout avance. Increasing gone the woe for day to neek of Troilus, for tarrying of Criseyde, and lacing gone his hope and eke his neeked, for which all down he in his bed him laide, he ne eat, ne drunk, ne sleep, ne word he saide, imagining that she was unkinde, for which while make he wax out of his minde. This dream, of which he told to have eke before, may never come out of his remembrance. He thought well he had his lady lorn, and that loves of his purveyance, him showed her in sleep the signifiance of her untrouth and his disaventure, and that the boor was showed him in figure. For which he for Sibyl his sister sent, that called was Cassandra eke all about, and all his dream he told her ere he stent, and here besought to soilen him the doubt of the stronger boor, the Tuscus stout, and finally within a little stonda, Cassandra him gan victus his dream expounda. She gan for Smila and said, O brother Dera, if thou was sooth of this desirous knowa, thou most a few of all the stories hera, to purpose how that fortune overthrowa hath Lord his olda, through which within a throwa, thou well this boor shalt knowa, and of what kind he common is, as men invoke his fiende. Diane, which that Ruth was, and in era for Grecus nol doon her sacrifica, ne encense upon her altar set a fira, she for that Grecus gona her so despisa, rack her in a wonder cruel wisa, for with a boor as great as oaks in stola, she made up free to her corn and Venus alla. To slee this boor was all the country raised, among which there come this boor to say, a maida, one of this world the best he praised, and Meleager, lord of that country, he loved so this fresh maiden free, that with his manhood, ere he wold stente, this boor he slow, and her the heed he sent. Of which, as all the book is telling us, there rose a contec and a great envy, and of this lord descended Tityos beligne, or else all the book is lee, but how this Meleager gan to die thurg his mother, will ye now not tella, for all too long it were for to dwella. Argument of the 12 books of Statius the Bias. As auciat profugum tidia primus Paulimitem, tidia legatum daucet insidias quae secundus Turcius Himoniden canet et vates latitantes quartus habet reges inuntes preliae septem mox furiae lenae quinto narratur et anguis Archimauri bustum sexto ludiqui leguntur dat Graecos Thebes et vetum septimus umbra octavo cecitit tedius spes vita Pelescia hupau me down now moritur cum perteno picau fulmine percussus decimau Capanius superatur undecimau se perimunt per vulnera fratres argivam flantem narrat duodenus et ignam. She told the eke how Tydeus Erchistenta went to the strongest city of Thebes to claim a kingdom of the city Wenta for his fellow down Polymetes, of which the brother down Ethiocles, for wrongfully of Thebes held the strength. This told she be process all by length. She told the eke how Haemonides esterta, when Tydeus slauk 50 knekte stouta. She told the eke all the prophecies by harta, and how that 7 kinges with her routa besieged the city all abouta, and of the holy serpent and the wella, and of the furies all she gan him tella. Of Archimoris hurrying and the playas, and how Amphiorax fell through the ground, how Tydeus was slain, lord of Argeas, and how Epaminondas in little stounda was trained, and deed Parthenope of Wonda, and also how Capanius the prouda, with thunder dint was slain, that cried alouda. She gan eke tella him how that either brother, Ethiocles, and Polymete also, at a skirmish, each of him sloke other, and of Argives weeping and her woe, and how the town was brent, she told eke though. And so descendeth down from Gestes olda to Diomede, and thus she spake and tolda. This ilke boor betokeneth Diomede, Deus sona, that down descended is from a lieger, that mara the boor to bleda, and the laddie, whereso she bay iwis, this Diomede her hearte hath, and she his. Weep if thou wilt, or leave, for out of doubt, this Diomede is in, and thou art out. Thou say'st not sooth, quod he, thou sorceressa, with all thee false ghost of prophecy, thou weenest being a great divineressa. Now say'st thou not, this fool of fantasy, paineth her on ladies for to lee. Away, quod he, their love is ye with thee sorwa. Thou shalt be false, perantur yet tomorrowa, as while thou makest lean on Alceste, that was of creatures, footmen lee, that ever wherein keenest and the besta. For one her husband was in Juparte to dee himself, but if she wold the dee, she chase for him to dee and go to hella, and start of a noon, as us the book is tella. Cassandra goth, and he with cruel hearte forgat his woe, for anger of her specha, and from his bed all suddenly he starta, as though all whole him hadde yemada lecha, and day by day he gan inquire and secha, as sooth of this, with all his full cura, and thus he dreeth forth his aventure. Fortune, which that permutation of things hath, as it is here committed, through preveillance and disposition, of haker love, as regnes shall ben fleeted, fro folk in folk, or wan they shall be smeated, gan pull away the featherless breed of Troy, for day to day, till they be bearer of joy. Among all this, the fiend of the parody of Ector gan approaching wonder bliva, the fata wall the soul a shoulder and body, and shapan hara a main it out to drive, a yens which fata him helpeth not to strive, but on a day to fichten gan he wende, at which, alas, he cocked his lives ende. For which methinketh every manner weet that haunteth armes oft to bewaile the death of him that was so noble a knecht. For as he drauch a king by theventela, on war of this, Achilles thrug the maile, and thrug the body gan him for to rive, and thus this worthy knecht was brought of live. For whom, as all the book is telling us, was mad switch woe, that tongue it may not tella, and namely the sorrow of Troilus, that next him was of worthiness a wella, and in this woe gan Troilus to dwella, that, what for sorrow and love, and for unresta, full oft the day he bad his heart to bresta. But natheless, though he gan him despire, and drad that his laddie was untrue, yet I on her his heart gan repaire, and as these lovers done, he sought I knew to gate again Criseyde, breed of hue, and in his heart he went her excusing, that Calchas caused all her tarrying. And oft the time he was in purpose greater, himself and like a pilgrim to disguise, to seen here, but he may not contrafeit to being unknown of folk that were unwise, nay find excuse or reek that may suffice, if he among the Greeks known were, for which he wept full oft many a terror. To her he wrote, yet oft a team all knew a full pit house lay, he left it not for slouth, beseeching her that, sin that he was through, she would come again and hold her troth, for which Criseyde upon a day for routha, he take it so, touching all this matter, wrote him again, and said as ye may hear. Cupidae sona, and sample of goodly Heda, a sword of nechtod, source of gentilessa, how meet the weak in torment and in dread, and hail Elise, yao sende as yet gladnessa, e heart Elise, e seeka, e in distressa, sin ye with me, nor e with yao may dela, yao neither sende each heart may nor haila. Your letters full, the paper all ye plainted, conceited hath min hearte's piety. Ye have eke seen with terrors all ye painted your letter, and how that ye require may to come again, which yet nay may not be. But we, thus that this letter found in were, no mention may make ye now for fairer. Gravest to me, God woot, is your unresta, your hasta, and that, the God's ordinance. It seemeth not ye talk it for the besta, for other thing is in your remembrance, as thinketh me, but only your plaisance. But beth not ruth, and that ye beseecha, but that ye tarry, is all for wicked speech. For ye have heard well more than ye wende, touching as twoe, how things han ye stonde, which ye shall with distimuling amenda, and beth not ruth, ye have ye understande, how ye nae done but holden me in hande, but now no force, ye cannot in your guesse, but all a troth and all a gentilesse. Common ye war, but yet in switch disjointe ye stand as now, that what year or what day that this shall be, that can ye not appoint, but in effect ye pray yow, as ye may, of your good word, and of your friendship aye, for truly will that me leave me jure, as for a friend ye may reassure. Yet pray ye yow on evil ye nae take, that it is short which that ye to yow rita. Ye dare not, there ye am, well a letters maka, ne never yet ne could ye well indeed. Eke great effect men read in place elite, then taunt is all, and naught the letters passa, and fareth now well, God have yow in his grace. la vostra, see. This Troilus this letter thought all stronga, when he it saw, and sorrowfully he seekta, him thought it leak a callan days of chanja, but finally he full ne trowan meekta, that she ne wold him holden, that she heekta, for with full evil will list him to labor that loveth well, in switch cause though him grieva. But natheless men saying that, at the lasta, for anything men shall the so to see, and switch a cause be tida, and that is fasta. That Troilus well understood that she nas not so keenda as that her octa be, and finally he woot now, out of doubt, that all is lost that he hath been about. Stood on a die in his melancholy this Troilus, and in suspicion of her for whom he went for to die, and so befell that through out Troia town, as was the Giza, he bore was up and down a manner coat armour, as saith the story, before de Phoebe, insignia of his victory. The which a cota, as telleth Lollius, de Phoebe it hara he rent from Diomede the same day, and one as Troilus it saw, he gan to tyken of it hera, a vising of the length and of the breadth, and all the work, but as he gan behold, full certainly his heart gan to cold. As he that on the collar found within a brooch that he Criseyde yaft that morwa, that she from Troy most a natus twin, in remembrance of him and of his sorwa, and she him laid again her faith to borwa to keep it but now, for well he wist, his laddie nas no langer on to tryst. He goeth him home, and gan full soon ascend for Pandarus, and all this knew a chance, and of this brooch he told him word and end, complaining of her heart's variance, his longer love, his troth, and his penance, and after death, withouten words more, for la fast creed, his rest him to restore. Then spake he thus, O Lady mine Criseyde, what is your faith, and where is your behesta? What is your love, where is your troth, he said? Of Diomede have ye now all this feasta? Alas, ye wolde have trowed at the jesta, that, sin ye nold in troth to me standa, that ye thus nold the han holden me in handa. Who shall now trow on any oaths mo? Alas, he never wolde han when. Hail this, that ye, Criseyde, coda han changed so. Nay, but he had a guilt and doon amiss, so cruel wende ye not your heart ye wis, to slee me thus. Alas, your name of troth is now fordone, and that is all my wrath. Was there none other broach your least later to favour with your newer love, quod he, but thilke broach that ye with terrors waita, yaw, as for a remembrance of me? None other cause, alas, ne hadde ye but for this bit, and eke for that ye meant all outwardly to showen your intent, through which ye say that clane out of your minde ye han me cast, and ne can nor my, for all this world within min harte finde to unloven jou a cotra of a day, in crucid team ye born was, wail away, that ye, that do me all this woe endure, yet love ye best of any creature. Now God, quod he, may send yet the grace that ye may maiden with this Diomede, and truly, if ye have meeked and spasa, yet shall ye maka, ye hope, his seed is blada. O God, quod he, that auctis taken heda to further in troth, and wrong is to punis, why nilt thou doen a vengeance of this visa? O Pandara, that in drames for to trista may blamed hast, and want art oft upbraida, now mayst thou say thee salva, if that thee least, how true is now thy nasa, breekt Criseyde. In sundry formes, God it wot, he saida, the goddess showen both joy and taina in sleepa, and be me drama it is now sana. Uncertainly, without a morris feature, from hennes forth, as fair forth as he may, Min owen deeth in armes wully secha, I recha not how soon be the day, but truly Criseyde sweeta may, whom ye have with all me make ye served, that ye thus doen, ye have it not deserved. These pandaroos that all of these things hearde, and wiste well he saide a south of this, he knocked a word again to him answerde, for sorry of his friend the sorrow he is, and shamed for his nace hath done amiss, and staunt, astoned of these causes tway, as still as stone, a word ne could he say. But at the last thus he spake and saide, Me brother dere, he may they do no more, what should he sayne, he hate he wis Criseyde, and God wot, he will hate her evermore, and that thou me besoughtest doen of yore, having unto mine honour ne may reste, reek no reward, ye did all that thee liste. If ye did aught that make the leaken day, it is may leave, and all this treason now, God wot, that it is sorrow is unto me, and dreade lease, for heartes ays of yow, reeked fain wolde ye amende it, wist ye how, and fro this world, I'll make ye God praye, delivering her sona, ye can no more say. Great was the sorrow and plaint of Troilus, but forth her course fortune egan to holde. Criseyde loved the son of Tydeus, and Troilus mote wape in Ceres colde. Sweet is this world, whoso it can beholde. In each state his little heart is reste, God leave us for to take it for the beste. In many cruel battle, out of dreade, of Troilus, this ilke noble knecht, as men may in these olde boekes reade, was saying his knechthood and his great meekt, and dreadelies his ere dien neekt, for cruelly the Grekes about, and alway most this Diomede he sought. And of the tema he finded that they mete with bloody strokes and with wordes greate, as saying how her spears were in wette, and God it wot, with many a cruel hate gan Troilus upon his helmet bete, but nevertheless, fortune it not ne wolde, of others harm that either Dane shoulde. And if he had taken for to reete the armes of this ilke worthy man, then wolde of his battles indeed, but for that he to reete first began of his love, he have said as that he can. His worthy dadas, whoso list him here, read deres, he can tell him all ye faire. Beseeching every lady bright of hue, and every gentlewoman, what she be, that all be that Criseyde was untrue, that for that guilt she be not ruth with me, ye may her guilt in other bookes say, and gladlier ye will have eaten, if yow laste, Penelope's troth, and good Alceste. Nay, ye say not this all only for these men, but most for woman that betrays it be, through false folk. God gave him sorrow. Amen. That with her great wit and subtlety betrays a yow, and this commaveth me to speake, and in effect ya all ye praye, both were of men, and hearkeneth what he saye. Go little book, go little mean tragedy, their God thee maker yet, ere that he day, so sende meek to make in some comedy. But little book, no making thou ne knave, but subject be to all a poesy, on kiss the stapes, whereas thou seest to pass, Virgil, Ovid, Homer, Lucan, and Stace. And for there is so great diversity in English and in reading of our tongue, so pray ye God that none misreadeth thee, ne thee mismaitre for the fault of tongue, and read whereso thou be, or else song, that thou be understood ye God beseech, but yet to purpose of me rather speech. The rather, as he began now for to say, of Troilus the Grekes balked in dere, for 1,000 days his handes maiden day, as he that was withouten any pair, save Hector in his team as he can hear. But wail away, save only God is willa, to speed out slay him slough the fierce Achille. And when that he was slain in this manner, his leek the ghost for blissfully is went up to the hollowness of the seventh sphere, in converse plating every element, and there he saw, with full avisement, the erratic stares, hearkening harmony, with songs full of heavenish melody. And down from Venice fast he gan visa, this little spot of earth that with the sea embraced is, and fully gan despise this wretched world, and held all vanity to respect of the plain felicity that is in heaven above. And at the lasta, there he was slain, his looking down he casta. And in himself he loch reeked at the woe of him that waked in for his death so fasta, and dampened all our work that fouleth so the blinde lust, the which that may not lasta, and shoulden all our heart on heaven casta. And forth he went, shortly for to tella, there as Mercury sorted him to dwella. Switch fin hath, lo, his Troilus for lover, switch fin hath all his great worthiness, switch fin hath his estate rail above, switch fin his lust, switch fin hath his noblesse, switch fin hath false world's brutalness, and thus began his loving of Criseyde, as ye have told, and in this wise he dade. O younge freshe folkes heir she, in which that love upgroweth with your age, repaireth home from worldly vanity, and of your heart upcasteth the visage, to thilke God that after his image yall made, and thinketh on this but a faire, this world, that passeth soon as flowers faire. And loveth him, the which that reeked for love upon a cross, our souls for to bear, first starve, and roose, and sit in heaven above. For he nil false and no weak, dare I say, that while his heart all wholly on him lay, on sin he best to love is, and most make, what needeth feigned love is for to sake. Lo here, a payans cursed old rites, lo here, what all her godes may avail. Lo here, these wretched world's appetites, lo here, the fin and guerdon for travail of love, Apollo, of Mars, of switch rascaille. Lo here, the form of old clerkes speech in poetry, if ye hear book seche. O moral gower, this book ye direct to thee, on to the philosophical strode, to vouch and solve their need is, to correct, of your benignities and zealous goda, and to that south-fast Christ, that stareth on roda, with all mean heart of mercy ever I pray, and to the Lord thus he spake and say. Thou one, and two, and three, a turn on leva, that regnest in three, and two, and uncircumscript, and all mayst circumscribe, us from visible and invisible fone defenda, and to the mercy every join, so mega us, Jesus, for the grace digna, for love of Maida and Mother thing benigna. Amen. Explicit liber Troilus et Criseyde. End of Book 5. Recording by Kevin Johnson. End of Troilus and Criseyde by Geoffrey Chaucer.